All right, hello everyone. This is Doug and Eric from Livepeer back again. Point of this session is to basically show you guys how to run a node and join the Livepeer testnet, which is soft launched. It's pretty early on. Process is kind of technical on the command line, but when you run a node, you can participate in the protocol as a transcoder, as a delegator and staker. You can broadcast video. You can watch streams through the tools that we have. So we're going to do a quick walkthrough and show you how to go about getting set up. There might be some hiccups along the way, but we'll give it our best shot. So I'm going to shift over to sharing my screen here. And walk you through the process. So I'm going to go full screen. So basically there's two pages that are helpful in walking through this process. The first is eth-testnet.livepeer.org. This is the dashboard, faucet, and connection instructions for our test network. And then the second is the Go Livepeer repository on GitHub, which is at github.com/livepeer/go-livepeer. And the README has all the instructions you need. So there's a few things we need to install. We need to install Livepeer itself. We need to install geth. We need to install ffmpeg. And we need to initialize and set up a network. So to get Livepeer, we have a release page where you can download the command line interface and the node. We have versions for _Darwin, that's Mac, and _Linux if you're on Linux. So I'm going to download the two Mac versions into my downloads directory. You might need to change the permissions on those so that you can execute them by running that command. So now we have that downloaded. The second thing is that you want to install ffmpeg. It takes a little while, so I'm not going to run it right now, but you can do it via one command on Mac or a different command on Linux. And then finally, geth, that's the Go Ethereum node, so you can connect to our testnet. You can follow the instructions provided here if you don't already have a geth node running. So after you've done that, the first thing you want to do is initialize our test Ethereum network. And you do that using this lp-testnet.json file. So it's another file for you to download. Once you have it, we can basically start initializing the network by running the commands provided here. So the first one is an initialization command, giving it a data directory called .lpgeth in your home directory. You can actually use whatever you want. And good, successfully wrote Genesis state. So now we've initialized the state. And by the way, we have seen an error on that command that says unable to recognize the field named number in that file. It's a quick fix. You open the file and you remove the field name number. And there's a post in our forum at forum.livepeer.org that describes that if you have trouble. The next thing you want to do is you want to connect to the network using this command. Good, so right now we've connected to the network. It should be connecting to a boot node and discovering peers on the network. And what hopefully it's going to do in the next couple minutes is start downloading all the blocks on the test network. Over here you can see that there's 72,000 blocks so far, so it should download that in just a minute or so. But let's see, let's look back and see if we're syncing. We haven't started syncing yet. Eric, do you know what our kind of test network setup is right now? How many nodes we have running and what those nodes are doing?
Yeah, our test Ethereum network has two sealers, which is just this Ethereum testnet concept. Instead of having to mine blocks, they can just assign blocks. And we also have two boot nodes running that help peers discover each other. So when you're running a local geth version, it should connect to one of the boot nodes. It looks like this is not really downloading the blocks.
Yeah, it hasn't started syncing so far. I wonder, one question is, did I connect to the right boot node? So this is actually a different address than the one that was in the README there. So let me try this one, and then we can update the README if this one works. The other one doesn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this boot node, replace it with this one. And again, it usually takes about 20 to 30 seconds before it starts potentially syncing. So we'll give that a look. It's interesting. I thought I updated the README, so I'm surprised. Oh, there it is. I did update the README. It just wasn't refreshed. Good. Okay, so now we see all these new blocks that are syncing scrolling by. So as soon as this finishes syncing, the next thing we can do is we can actually run the Livepeer node itself. And I'm going to go full screen again so that we can kind of watch the process that I used to do that. Over here in the instructions, it's pretty simple. You basically can just run Livepeer Testnet. I think, good, fast sync complete. We've finished kind of catching up to the chain. I'm open a new terminal, and the file that I downloaded was called Livepeer Darwin. You could rename that to Livepeer. I'm just going to execute it as Livepeer Darwin. I'm going to give it the testnet flag, just like it was documented here in the quick start. And this should connect to the test network. And it says it couldn't find an ETH account, so it created a new account for me. That's fine. And it looks like it started, it identified all the smart contracts that it needs to connect to, and it started the Livepeer media server and our HTTP interface. So this is great. Now we have a local Livepeer node running, and it's ready to take all the actions on the Livepeer network, and it's ready to broadcast video. So the next thing worth noting is that the second thing you downloaded, called Livepeer CLI, is a tool that we've built to make it really easy for you to interact with the Livepeer network. So when you run that, you scroll up, and it says, welcome. This tool makes it easy to interact with the network. It gives you a bunch of information, including your address, the ports that you're running on, and your ETH account address for the Ethereum account that's connected to this. Also note, it says that I have 0 Livepeer token and I have 0 Ether. So one of the first, and beyond that, it displays my stats that I'm broadcasting and my stats about transcoding, both of which I'm not interacting with right now. So finally, at the bottom, it says, what would you like to do? And it gives you all of these options. So I think the first two things that we want to do are get some test Ether and get some test Livepeer token. So 12, get test Ether. It conveniently tells you to go to ethtestnet.livepeer.org and use the Faucet. Great, no problem. So we're over here on ethtestnet.livepeer.org. This is the home page with the network stats. Over here it says Crypto Faucet. I'm going to click on that, and it has a nice GitHub authenticated faucet, which is a nice feature, but a little bit of a step that you have to take to get your Ether. Basically, you have to create a gist on gist.github.com, and you just paste your Ethereum address, which you can get from Livepeer CLI, right here. And you just paste it into a gist. It can be a secret gist. You don't have to share it with the world. Click Create. This gives you a URL. And all you need to do is you need to take that URL and just paste it into the GitHub faucet. You say, give me Ether. I might as well take 390 Ethers while I'm at it. Good. Funding request accepted for DOB, my GitHub name. All right, so I had to cut there for a second, but we're back. We're at the step where I just pasted my address into the faucet and said, give me Ether. And I chose 62.5 Ether. And so now over here, back in the Livepeer CLI, after the transaction is mined on the Ethereum blockchain, which happened a couple blocks ago, I can run get node status again, and there it is. My ETH balance now has 62 ETH. The next thing we want to do is get some test Livepeer token, so that's option 11. And there you just run that, and again we'll wait for a transaction to be mined on the blockchain. Here it says I submitted the transaction. In the next block that's mined, 1 or 2 blocks, hopefully it'll be included. Looks like it wasn't included in that previous transaction. The CLI will basically just sit here until it gets included, which hopefully should be within the next block. There it is. Looks like it got included, hopefully. I can check my stats. And there we go. I've got 1,000 Livepeer token. All right, so now I've got some token. I've got some ETH. So there's a bunch of other actions I can take. We can broadcast video or stream video. Let's come back to those in a second. Let's talk about the process of electing transcoders or becoming a transcoder. We have options for those. And then we have an option for depositing token, which is actually required if you want to broadcast video. So I'm going to start by basically bonding some token. That's going to display the candidate transcoders, so I can decide who I want to bond towards. And what it shows is how much stake they currently have, what percentage of the block reward they're willing to share, or they're willing to take as a cut for performing the service, and what percent of the fees they're going to share back to me if I delegate towards them, as well as what price they're currently charging. So this guy down here, number 3, has a lot of stake. They're going to take 10% of the block reward that I would otherwise earn, and they're going to share 5% of the fees back to me, and they're charging 10 Livepeer token per segment. So let's just go with them for now. Then we can enter the amount we want to bond. I have 1,000 tokens, so let's say I'm going to bond 200 towards them. And this is again going to kick off a transaction on the blockchain, which will wait to be mined. Once this goes through, whenever they do transcoding jobs and they claim their work, that'll basically share a portion of the fees back to me. And then once per round, which right now is every 50 blocks, they call reward. That'll entitle me to some block reward, but 10% of it will go to them as a transcoder. So there's a couple transactions that need to happen in parallel, and right now, as you can see, we're dealing with the block time on the Ethereum network. Could certainly start another CLI node to take another action, but our experience is that we're currently block while this occurs. And see, we submitted one transaction, it got included in one block. Submitted a second transaction, got included, there it is, got included in that block. And so now we're back to our CLI. And again, if we run our stats and look at our stake, it should show us that we're pending as a delegator and that we've bonded towards this transcoder. Right now it's not updated yet. It might be waiting for the next round to begin when they become active. I'm still pending instead of active as a delegator. Pretty sure on the next round that should update. If you want to unbond, you can choose option 8. That'll start the unbonding process, and you have to wait for a period of time before you can actually withdraw. And then finally, option 9, withdraw bond, that'll actually take your deposit back and give you access to it. Let's look at the process of becoming a transcoder. So that's interesting. It says our current balance is 800. What percentage of the block reward do we want to take from our users? Let's say 5%. And how much fees are we willing to share back to our users? Maybe 10%. And then what kind of price per segment do we want to charge? Let's go with 1. Let's make our service cheap so that we attract lots of broadcasters. Would you like to bond to yourself? You will not be active until someone bonds to you. So yes, we just did an example of bonding towards someone else, but I think we should probably move that and bond towards ourselves. And how much do we want to bond? Let's bond 200 Livepeer token towards ourselves. So once again, this is going to submit a couple more transactions on chain. So we get to sit and wait and play the waiting game while these get submitted and get mined. Not the most fun part of live demo is maybe I'll be able to edit some of it out in the recording before we share. Actually see if I can run an additional Livepeer CLI node here. Good. So we have a node running that's not blocking. Again, showing us a different token balance, a different ETH balance. We probably spent some of our ETH to submit these transactions in gas. It also shows us now as a registered transcoder. We're not yet active, but it shows our stats in terms of block reward, fee share, and pending price. What we're also waiting for is the next round to begin. Like I said, a round is every 50 blocks. Since we have some bonded stake now, hopefully we'll be activated into the transcoder pool. The next thing I want to show is broadcasting video. And before we do that, we actually have to deposit some token so that we have some token to pay for broadcasting video. So I'm going to deposit 100 token. Again, we'll wait for that to clear. It's been submitted as a transaction. Not mined yet, but hopefully soon in the next block. So our previous bonding transaction passed. You see our bond is updated to 200 and our total stake is 200. For broadcasting, you have the ability via option 6 to choose the highest price that you're willing to pay to broadcast a segment of video, which is a few seconds long, and then the ability to set what transcoding profiles you want to transcode to. In this case, we want to transcode to 360p video. So let's see. Good, our deposit completed. Let's see if that's reflected anywhere. It might not be in the, here it is, our deposit amount, 100. So now we can take the step of broadcasting video. So it asks us our settings. We say we can keep that. That's fine. Leave our ports. It says now broadcasting. And I believe what we're waiting for is a stream ID. Now great, this is putting a stream on chain. And if I share this stream ID with someone, in this case I'm going to share it over to Eric in our peer in chat. Let's see if he can run the option and maybe do a screen share and try and stream the video using this command line interface as well. Not positive this will work because we're just messing around with the network and setting up these boot nodes, but we'll give it a shot for your viewing pleasure.
All right, so now we are going to try to stream this video stream. So,
Eric, you want to talk a little bit louder? I think my mic needs to pick it up to hear you.
okay, so now we're going to stream this video stream. And to do that, I, again, first need to go to Livepeer to download the latest release. Releases.
Do you happen to have one running? I think because our viewers should already have a node, so if you have one downloaded, you could probably run the CLI.
Right, so I can run like this. I can start the CLI command. I can pick option number 4, which is stream video, and enter the stream ID. So now our node is going to go out to the network and look for that video, and hopefully we'll be able to stream it. So here we go. Let me share my screen. As we can see now, we see the video being streamed to my computer here.
Nice. Peer-to-peer video broadcasting over the Livepeer network and on the blockchain. And Eric, are we looking at a transcoded version of my stream, or are we looking at my original stream in the original resolution?
I think we're looking at the original resolution. Yeah.
And the transcoded stream, is that accessible or to us in any way, or does it just depend on the player's ability to choose which version of the stream it wants to broadcast?
Yeah,
or wants to show?
exactly. The player would pick which version it wants to view.
Great, based on the connection speed and kind of player profile. So awesome. I think let's see. Is there anything else that's worth doing right now? I think you guys should have the gist of. I'm going to press Q to stop broadcasting. I think you guys should have the gist of what happens when you run a Livepeer node and how you get set up. As you see right now, we're in a state where it's a little bit slow, a little bit clunky. It's command line based, and you're doing a lot of kind of interacting with the blockchain itself. All of this can be abstracted away through good user experience and good application development, and we're working on that stuff. We have some community members working on that stuff. But that's why there's a soft launch of the testnet. It's for the brave who want to come along this journey with us. We're available in our Gitter chat room at gitter.im/livepeer/lobby. And if you're looking to try and run a node, that's a great place to find us, and we can help walk you through the process. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys soon.